Some places were very well received. Some places are really happy for the UN to be coming in. They're very, very hospitable people. Other places, not quite as friendly. Sometimes it's confusing. Sometimes I think that what I see in my short time here doesn't fill me with confidence. It's remarkably upsetting to live here sometimes. Some of the locations we go, they have nothing. They are living off the land. It's completely subsistent living, but they don't have much.
The reason that we're here, and the reason I think that people serve, certainly that I serve in the military and I come to places like this in the United Nations, is because in your own little way you're trying to make a difference. I mean, this is a country where people are suffering. They live in fairly tough conditions, as you'll see around the protection of civilian site here. So those sorts of things, you know, make it very challenging for the people of South Sudan.
Listen, if the UN wasn't in South Sudan, there'd be tens of thousands of people dead. There's absolutely no doubt about that. The people that we're protecting, I guess the comfort, the security comfort we give other organisations to do their work, their humanitarian work. It's not a direct thing, but it's an indirect thing. So the UN here is trusted. It is mostly seen as impartial and neutral, and we work very hard on that. And that enables us to be the kind of the voice that people listen to and the voice that people respect. It's so important to maintain that.
South Sudan is one of the most dangerous places for a humanitarian aid worker, and we're still here. You can get so absorbed in any crisis, in any humanitarian response, especially when it's conflict driven. You can get so involved that it becomes very extremely personal to you. The reason I'm here and my teams are here, is we're focused, you know, it's the women and the children suffer. They suffer incredibly out here.
We go out, we meet the local government forces, the local opposition forces, as well as local community leaders. We head out there, talk to them about any issues they're facing, we report back to the UN, and we pass on that information so that we can get the aid to the people of South Sudan.
So when you walk around, what you'll see is everyone wearing the blue beret. So everyone is a UN peacekeeper here first and foremost. Currently we've got 4 New Zealand Defence Force personnel here. We've got 2 military observers which are out across the country, and then in Juba itself here we've got another Lieutenant Colonel who is the planning officer within the force headquarters, and obviously myself as the military assistant.
WP here is one of a number of humanitarian partners up here, but we've got a specific mandate to support food security and basic nutrition. And that's not all just about delivering truckloads of food by different modalities, by river and air. It's about also finding ways to support the people in engaging in types of livelihoods where they can move to becoming more self-resilient themselves.
Towards the north is the Kubo town and the county commission officer. Towards the south is the board.
When I arrived in South Sudan, we had very fixed bases, and we've changed the bases around a bit. We've closed some, we've opened ones like this, making them a little bit smaller. But also we're trying to up our mobility, so we're using more helicopters and more, when we can, trucks, so we can go into a place, stay for a while, do patrols, make some contacts, understand what's happening. If there's any needs, we can bring in humanitarian support if we need to. So it's being much more nimble, much more, I guess, just able to get out there rather than being fixed in a big base with, you know, guys that get up towers and look out and don't do very much more.
So the river's used for everything. The locals use it to provide themselves food. Coming in, I mentioned earlier, from Ethiopia, we'll have food coming along the Sobat, and along the Nile they come from Sudan to support the local economies. For the UN themselves, all of our food is shipped up from Juba. Every 6 weeks or so we do what's called Operation Lifeline. Without the Nile, during the wet season, we would have nothing here, nor would the locals. So.
But the highlights of the things you see is that, you know, the ceasefire here is largely held for a period of time. We are moving forward in the pre-transitional agreement or phase of the the UN's time here, and so you're starting to see some real development coming back into South Sudan. Juba is, more markets are there, you're seeing more commerce around, so you're starting to see some real progress in South Sudan as well. So there's really a lot of positives that are starting to sort of manifest themselves in South Sudan.
Something New Zealand brings to the table in any UN mission or any mission around the world is our ability to care. New Zealanders are well known worldwide for their compassion, for their ability to actually see a problem and recognise that it's a problem. And I think we bring that to the table.
This is why we're here, so don't give up on South Sudan. We will all get there, and it's about the political will of the key interlocutors, and we just need to keep adding pressure and all that, but if we leave, that's very dark for South Sudan.